What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Finally back on the GoPro. Had a little issue with my phone, but we're getting that worked out. But let me clean this up. Kind of filthy. All right, sorry guys. So we tried to take the Civic to the track last night, and turns out that the event is not until tonight. So that's going to give us a little bit of time to do some work. As you guys may remember, I'm double slipped. I'm slipped through the viscous coupler and slipping through the clutch packs in the CRV rear diff. Boys over at PFI Speed, again, Brent hooked me up with the pin kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that thing installed today. We did not have time to install that in Colorado. We just simply ran out of time. And the car still went 1065 with double slip in the rear. So it's definitely gonna cut down on my 60-foot times. We're gonna walk out here where it's a little bright, so I'm gonna squint. So car's still on the trailer. We're gonna go ahead and get it unloaded, get it backed up onto the ramps in the shop there, and get that pin kit installed. We're gonna show you guys how we do it. So stick around, we're gonna get this thing unloaded, and we'll get it in the shop.
Are we on the air?
Ruh-roh. All right, well, we got her unloaded, got her into the garage here, got her up on the ramps, and we're gonna go ahead and dig underneath here. And I think we can pretty much do this in the car. I'm not gonna have to pull the rear diff out. I'm just gonna have to separate it here and you know, drain the fluid and what have you, and then we'll get into the details of how this whole kit works. But we'll show you guys kind of step by step how we do it, and we'll get it done. So we're gonna go grab some tools and start getting this thing apart. All right, guys, so the first thing you wanna do is get to the drain here. Take your 3/8 ratchet, and we're gonna loosen that drain up, and we're gonna drain all the fluid out. And this is not just any kind of rear, you know, any kind of oil or gear oil. This is actually specific for Honda rear differential fluid. And that stuff looks pretty clean, so I'll probably be putting that right back in, seeing that I just put it in there, you know, right before race week last year. So we'll get that drained, and then we're gonna move on to taking the drive shaft off. Well, we got the drive shaft off, got the bolts out. First thing you're gonna wanna do is pull out this 32 millimeter nut, oh, I'm sorry, 34 millimeter nut off of the flange. I've got my snap-on impact here. You can use a Milwaukee, you can put the brakes on and use a ratchet, whatever, but we're gonna go ahead and bust this loose. All right, as you can see, we got the nut off. Behind that nut is a washer, and then behind that washer is a plastic washer and a rubber O-ring. That stuff will come off when we go to pull this whole deal apart. This flange will come with it. You can go in here and try to pry it off, but if you just undo all the 8 millimeters around the casing and then spread it apart, this will come off with it. So we got all our 8 millimeter bolts out. I'm going to slide the old drain pan over here, because there's a spot right here you can put a screwdriver or a pry bar and separate this. But as soon as you separate this, a ton of fluid is going to come out. So we're going to go ahead and separate this, and at the same time, this front flange is going to slip off, so we need to grab that as well. Okay, so I popped it loose and the whole thing went flying. So what you're going to want to watch for is this piece that needs to stay. This can come off along with the ball bearings. So see this piece that, I'm going to set this down here. This piece that normally holds the ball bearings, that's going in the trash. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore. We're going. And then this piece also that turns the pump, we also don't need that where we're going. So that's it for this end. You're just going to remove all that stuff. Make sure you hold on to this, and we're going to jump into that part. So we're going to slide this out and get to work. Now, if you guys remember, I don't know if you'll remember this from a long time ago, my pump has a quick spool kit in it, and it has an extra shim in the clutch pack. we're gonna get rid of all that. We'll leave the quick spool kit inside this pump because this pump's not gonna be used anymore. But we're gonna remove that extra shim from here since we're gonna be locking the clutches. We dug into the drain pan there and we got out the pieces we wanted. So here's the front flange kit where the drive shaft bolts up. There's the plastic washer and the O-ring. Those are gonna stay there. We're gonna put those aside for later, but we're definitely gonna reuse that stuff. We got the case. Don't really need to worry about anything in the case. Just make sure that bearing's still in there and then it's good. Looks to be in really good shape. This is what we're after. We're after this clutch pack right here. So when you take this thing apart, you're gonna hear all the ball bearings that normally sit in here. You're gonna hear them fall out. You just wanna make sure they all fall out. We're gonna go back up there in the pump area, make sure they're all gone. There's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So you want to make sure you have 6 of them. I saw a bunch of them down there in the drain pan, so we'll get them counted before we put it back together. But our next step is going to be to take all this apart. So I'm going to show you how to do that here. And then mine specifically is under a lot of pressure because it has an extra shim in here. And so you're going to want to be really careful when you're taking these apart because they are under spring pressure. There is a spring in here. So to get this apart, we're going to grab this screwdriver. And there's a big snap ring inside here. So you usually can just grab it and just kind of pull. And dude, honestly, I want to give a big shout out to Red over at Pirate Garage. He's the one that did this for me and showed me how to do all this stuff. Had I not put a viscous in this car, I'd still continue using this kit. Believe it or not, my car at 600 horsepower, it was still putting like 30% of the power to the rear tires through this, I think Red calls it the power transfer upgrade, or some other guys call it a quick spool kit. But the PTU upgrade, it definitely worked for me. So anyways, all right guys, we're gonna jump back in here and we're gonna start getting this thing apart. If I can get my screwdriver in there to get this clip out. There we go. Like I said, you're gonna wanna be really careful because usually when it's not pressed together, this first one doesn't have much tension on it, if at all. There we go, we got it. So now we're gonna take this all apart. We're gonna dump this out. You got this shim, you got a clutch pack, you got another shim, and the conical washer. Now, if you guys remember, I told you, mine has an extra shim in it. And it's this one right here, it's extra thick. So the shim that's supposed to be in here has actually been moved and it's down on the other side of this. So you can watch a bunch of videos about the power transfer upgrade, the PTU or the quick spool kit. We're gonna remove this portion of the quick spool kit in order to get my pins in. So now we're gonna move on to the next snap ring, which is right here. Oh, is there no, I think there's still another spacer in there. Yep, there is, there it is. Spacer. All right, get this spacer out. And this one was below the conical washer. Don't lose that, that goes on here. All right, so dig in here and get this next snap ring out. There we go. You can just kind of walk it around. Like I said, you're gonna want to be real careful. This one is spring loaded, so you're gonna want to watch it when you get this apart. There we go. See, I kept my thumb here because I knew everything was gonna fly. So this one, how it was stacked on top, this goes with the original pack. And then you're gonna get this out because you're gonna want to keep this. Here's my spring. Gonna want to keep the center gear. There's the center gear. And then here's all the clutch packs. You want to dump all those out. There's one still stuck down there that I'll probably have to flush out. But here they are. Here's all the clutch packs. Clutches, clutches, clutches. These guys are all garbage. This is all going in the trash. We're going to sit that over there. and we're going to work on getting this this last clutch pack out. We're probably going to have to flush it out with brake clean, because what happens is the fluid gets stuck in here and it creates like a vacuum on that last one. Or you can get a pick. I can try to grab it with a screwdriver here. Oh yeah, there it moved. All right, there we go. We got the last one out. So we're all clean inside. There we go. Don't forget, when this falls out, don't lose that. That's got to go back inside. All right, so we're ready to put our pin kit in, and here it is. So as you can see, these aren't clutches. These are just solid metals, and that's what's going to keep this locked up. So as you can see, there's different markings. There's circles on this one. There's an arrow on this one. So the one with the arrow, this is the thin. So you can see here, they're thin and thick. The thin one goes on the bottom, and they can go any way. You know, you just start with the first one. It goes down, but then you're going to want to make sure that that circle lines up with the up arrow, so that way they're all lined up the same way. I'm going to slide all these in here. I can't get that last one. There we go. And they're in. All right, now we're going to take the center gear. We're going to slide that back in, just like that. All right, so we got this pushed down. We got the snap ring put in. It's kind of easier to do with two people, but if you just move it around a little bit, you'll find the right spot. It'll push right down. There's a ton of videos online, guys, how to do this. I'm not really doing this as an instructional video. I'm just showing you that we're installing the kit, and then we're going to the track tonight, so we're going to cover that as well. So that way we can compare our 60 foots from Colorado to our 60 foots from here, and show you guys what the difference is. So anyways, we got this back together. We're going to throw the spacers in here and get this thing put back together and back in the car. All right, well, we got it all back together, minus this. So this one was the for the PTU upgrade. We're going to keep that out. We don't need that anymore. And we need this one, but we're going to leave it out. So what we do is we're going to go ahead and put the C-clip back in now. Snap ring, whatever you guys want to call them. I want to just make sure she gets all the way in there. Doesn't overlap. Looks good. All right, guys, so you can see we're left with one shim here, and that was the extra one from the quick spool kit, which we're not using anymore. And then if we go back to here, we can see we got the assembly pushed back onto the pump, and we'll be good to go. We're going to put the cover back on, put some Ultra Gray on here, some Honda Bond, put the bolts back in, and this thing will be ready to rock. All right, so we got it all wrapped up. I didn't have any Ultra Gray. I just used some red. I got the cover put back on, got the flange torque back up onto the diff, and U-joints are all in. Drive shaft bolted back up, and we're good to go. So we got this rear diff pinned, and we'll see how she does tonight. And guys, don't forget, if you do this, don't forget to take this off and refill your diff with fluid. Got everything done. Got the rear diff pinned, as you saw, or you know, however, whatever you want to call it, locked. And got some maintenance done, got an oil change done, and got the car ready. We're going to get it on the trailer, and we're headed off to the track. All right, guys, so we're back out here. We're at the track today. Got the car unloaded, went through tech, everything's good. We got it iced down. We are going to go get in the lanes here. I got to get suited up real quick, and then we're going to get the car over into the lanes and see what she does. We're hoping for mid-9, so if it doesn't do it, you know, it is what it is, but that's what we're trying for. And the DA here is really good today, so we're going to hop in the car and see what she does. All right, guys, here we go. First pass at Wild Horse. Just about to get in the burnout box. Well guys, as you can see, the track didn't go so well last night. I think after everything was all said and done, I think I went 10.7 at like 120 something. I'll have to look at the slip. I know it was like a 1.9 60-foot time. The prep wasn't all that great, and we're still having some trouble dialing this girl in. Unfortunately, I think the motor might be a little bit hurt. We're filling the catch can every pass. It's got a lot of blow by, so we're gonna go ahead and pull the spark plugs out. We're gonna do a compression and a leak down test, and that's gonna tell us everything we need to know. I've got 2 weeks before race week, so I'm praying it's just a valve guide issue or something, but more than likely it's probably rings. So I'm probably gonna have to put a set of rings in this motor. Like I said, I got 2 weeks before race week comes, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into this real quick, and we'll do a compression test here real quick. So guys, I went over to my buddy's shop and where my tools are at, picked up my snap-on compression and leak down tester. Unfortunately, these two boxes in my lifetime have dealt a lot of bad news to my customers back in the day. So hopefully it doesn't deal that bad news to us. We're gonna jump in here, pull the plugs out, do a compression test, and then we'll start a leak down and see where we're at. Well, we pulled the plugs out. They're not looking too shabby. 1, 2, 3, and then we get to number 4, which has got oil all over it. So I think this number 4 cylinder is going to be the culprit. Like I said, praying that it's the head, because that's the easier fix than pulling the pan and pulling the rods and pistons out. But I don't know. We're going to jump in here and we'll see where we're at. Okay, go ahead. All right, guys, that one looks like 190. So far, so good. We're gonna move it over here. Cylinder 2. Or second cylinder, sorry. It's that's 4. This is 3. All right, cylinder 3. Go ahead. Good. Same thing, about 190. 2 out of 4 ain't bad, right, guys? Special shout out to Sherry sitting in the car there, turning the key for me. Turn you guys this way. That works. Cylinder 2. Okay, go ahead. All right, 190. So, all right, guys, here we go. This is the cylinder that's in question. This one had oil all over the plug. So the compression's probably going to read high because there's oil in the cylinder, but this is going to give me a quick indication of what's going on. Go ahead. Good. 190. 185. So the compression's a hair low in that cylinder, but not enough for me to determine whether or not it's rings. I think I got a problem in the cylinder head. So we're gonna go ahead and do a leak down test now, and we'll get that figured out, and we'll go from there. So we got the leak down tester hooked up. We're gonna go ahead and put 100 PSI into this number 4 because we think that that is the suspected cylinder. And here we go. We're just gonna give it a whirl and see what happens. So you wanna go all the way up to 100. I can tell already that this cylinder is good. So I just put 100 pounds in it right here, and we have about 5% leak down, which is excellent. This head just got done, so ooh, I am hearing a gurgling noise though. Is that coming out of the catch can?
Yep.
Rings.
That's what I'm hearing.
Rings are bad. Let me go over here and listen. That's weird because I had good compression in that cylinder, but oh yeah, yep. So we got blow by, getting by. So looks like we're gonna have to pull the head off and have a look, but we're gonna go ahead and leak down the rest of the cylinders just to be safe. It's gotta be rings. Or I got a cracked piston or something. Okay, so we're on cylinder 2. We're gonna go ahead and leak that one down. Oh yeah. So we got about 20% leak down in that, and I can hear it bubbling. Can you hear air coming out? Let me see if I can hear air coming out of the catch can. So I just started thinking, we're hearing that coming out of my breather, which is coming out of the valve cover, which tells me that more than likely it's either getting by these valves or it's getting by the, I think it's getting by the rings is what it is. But anyway, so we're gonna check cylinder 2 here. And I can hear it gurgling in the catch can. And stop it. All right, cylinder number 3. 100 pounds in, 15% leak down, which is really good, but we can hear it. Let me start it over so you guys can hear that. If I take the air away and I put it back in, you're gonna hear it gurgle in there. So far we're getting blow by in all 4 cylinders. So we're gonna roll the motor over and try cylinder 4. All right, here we go guys, cylinder 4. Oops, sorry about that. I'm not on the compression stroke. Stop it. All right, we got it on the compression stroke now, cylinder 4. Again, we can hear gurgling in the catch can, and we're at about 15% leak down. So the valves are good, nothing wrong with the head. We may have a head gasket issue, or we got bad rings all the way across. So we're gonna dig into this a little further. Obviously, we're gonna have to pull the cylinder head off and take a look at it. Well, as you can see, things have escalated quickly around here. We got the table out because we're going to be pulling the cylinder head off. What I ended up doing was blocking these ports off, ran a leak down a test again, and it blew the dipstick right out. So getting tons of pressure by the pistons, and yeah. So what we're going to do now is, well, I've already done it. I drained the oil and pulled the pan, and I had some not so good news in there either. So let's have a look. That's not good news for a motor with, I don't know, 6 or 8 passes on it and no miles. So I'm hoping that it's just a clutch adjustment issue. I run an old school, older style Clutch Masters twin disc, and what happens is if you don't put a clutch stop on it, it'll push too far on the flywheel and it'll press it up against the crank and it'll eat the thrust washers. And as you can see right here, there are some rub marks there where I was rubbing the rear main seal. So I'm hoping that that's all it is. We're gonna go ahead and drop the mains out right now and dig into those thrust washers and see what's going on. Hopefully that's just it. All right guys, so we got the mains off. I just rolled this thrust bearing out, and so far so good. It's not bad. So we're gonna just roll that right back up in there, and I'm gonna pop the other side out. Normally I just use a straw to push them, that way you're not putting anything metal up in there. I'll just take my little straw here, if you guys can see that, and let's see where to go. Push her up in there. I'm gonna pull her out the other side. So we got the other one out. Looks a-okay. So now we're gonna take a look at the mains. All right, well, mains are not looking so hot. That's from all the trash being in the oil, but where did it come from? So I'm gonna get back underneath and pull the other 2 mains down, and then I'm gonna pull all 4 rod caps, and then we'll find out what's going on and what's happening here. All right, guys. Well, this is not the news I was looking for. Looks like Okay, she started to spin a bearing. Number 1 main bearing. I don't know, originally this looked kind of flattened out, but yeah, I just see raw copper in there, so something happened. Not sure what. I did buy this crank off a marketplace because my old crank was trashed, and it looked to be in perfect condition. So for some reason it started to spin that bearing. The bummer part about it is it looks like it got into the crank too. So let's jump back underneath here and I'll show you guys. So that's what a good crank journal is supposed to look like. That's what that one looks like. Got a bunch of copper on it. I might be able to micro polish that. Maybe. I don't know. But it looks like this thing's gonna need a full tear down, mic the crank, etc., etc. And I've got 2 weeks for race week. So I gotta make some decisions. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm a big K-Series guy. I think I had one of the first cars in Southern California to be K-swapped, wired up and running properly. Way back in, oh God, it had to have been 06 or 07. The only reason this car is not K20 is because we had this motor left over from our race program when we had whole shot racing, and we were racing the NHRA Sport Compact. This was, excuse me, this was a backup motor we had built for our race car. So at this point, I'm not quite sure what we're gonna do. GSR cranks aren't just falling out of the sky, and that leaves me with limited time to get this thing put back together and ready for race week. The easier option might be to K-swap it. My fuel tech will work for it. A lot of the stuff that I have will work. And if I K-swap it, it might not be turbo for race week. It might be all motor or maybe even a nitrous setup. So we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, I can always take that. That would look pretty cool with a Rocky Mountain Race Week sticker on the windshield. It is running, up and running. I would just, I'd probably fix the air conditioning in it before we go, but you know, I got a few things to do to that. And then there's always my Volkswagen. That thing hasn't really been tested by me yet. I have driven it on the freeway and it is not geared very tall. So that might be a little hard on that motor in that car. So like I said, guys, we got a lot of decisions to make. We're not sure if we're gonna stick with the B series. I'm gonna get with the boys over at PFI, see if they've got any short blocks laying around. You know, and I'm gonna put the word out if anyone's got a B series short block that's sleeved. It's gotta be sleeved. I don't want CSS. It's gotta have sleeves in it. Preferably Golden Eagle, Godzilla's, you know, LA sleeve, whoever, as long as it's sleeved. Sleeved rods and pistons. I'm looking for a short block. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe, and hopefully we will see you in the next one, getting this thing ready for race week.